first finger, I put, that's right, bottom of the fiddle. Okay, so let's do that a couple. Let's do it again. Let's do it 10 times in a row and gradually accelerate it. That's right. Make sure you use the fourth finger. Good. So don't look at the notes. They aren't going to help you. What? There's no way I can see the notes that fast. And that's how fast you need to play them. So my hands are fast enough that they can play that pattern, but my eyes will never see the notes that fast. Make sense? So don't look at them. Get your finger memory going. It's a very simple pattern, but you need to be able to feel exactly what's high and what's low. Okay? So repeat this with me now without looking at the notes. And that's that right there. You want to train that fourth finger to go down. There you go. Let's do it again. Your third finger wants to do that. That's like, you know, you've got a 2-year-old right now. You've got a 2-year-old problem because your fingers are like 2-year-olds. I've told you this before, right? And right now, that 2-year-old thinks that it needs to go down there. And it wants to do it, wants to do it, wants to do it. No, it's got to be the 4. So you have to override that with your brain and make sure that you train it with the 4th finger. Other than that, I think you've got the rest of the pattern down. If you do that, that first finger was a little too high, but we'll get to that in a minute. Just keep making sure that you use that 4th finger. Here we go. 4th finger. Again. Again. So that's getting pretty good. At least it's pretty close to the tempo you're playing. Now we can go on. Keep going from there. Good. So your bow arm is looking pretty good, Alex. You're doing pretty well. But do that again right from there. And what I want you to do is I want you to notice how your body feels right here and right here while you do that, okay? Go back and do it again. And notice your hips. That's right. You know, did you feel how there's that tendency for your hips to do that? And the reason, especially in the string crossing, is that if you make the string crossing from here, in other words, if you do it like a bird, like this, watch my arm. If you go ba da 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 da, you make the string crossing with your shoulder, with your whole arm. It's going to make your hips wiggle. Instead, I want you to think of your hand as being like a snake, and that you're making the crossing like this. See? Watch my hand. My hand, the head of the snake leads the body, and I'm making those string crossings with my fingers and wrist. In general, this is looking a little better. Now your first finger's crept way too far up, but you started out pretty good. You're doing okay. I want to get that retrained so those fingers are closer, but make sure make those string crossings like the head of a snake. That's right. And when you do it the right way, this way, you'll lose that feeling of your hips going. That's right. So watch. See that? It's all wrist. I'm playing from here and not from here. That's getting better. So if I asked you if we went fishing, have you ever been fishing?
No.
Let's say you and I go fishing. I used to live in Florida. They can catch some really big fish there. You know, you sit on the back of a boat and you go out deep sea fishing. You can get some fish that'll pull you in the water if you aren't careful, right? So they actually secure those huge fishing rods. They clamp them right down to the boat, so you don't have to always hold it. But if you had to reel in a fish, okay, put your bow up there on the music stand for a minute. All right, so show me, if you had to reel in a fish, what would it look like? You know what a fishing reel look, right? That's right, you'd do this, right? You wouldn't go like this, right? If you had to turn a big wheel, you would use your whole arm. But this is just a little fishing rod, right? So that's the motion I want you to use when you're crossing the strings. Now, why is it that you can do that so easily, but when you put a bow in your hand, you have trouble? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. It's because you're grabbing the bow. See, watch. If I put this in my hand and I grab the bow, watch what happens to my arm. Get stiff. Now watch what happens when I cradle the bow. See how my wrist freed up? My wrist frees up because I'm not holding the bow. If I hold something, it locks my wrist, and that's your problem right now. You need to make sure that when you're making those crossings, you are not grabbing the bow. And when I see this, like I told you last week, that's going to ruin you. Make sure the cradle, you don't need to get that finger forward. Just relaxed cradle, and you'll be able to do that real easily. Try it with the bow in your hand. Give me a reel in the fish with a really relaxed hand. Make sure that you're not grabbing the bow. That's right. That's right. For now, forget about the notes. Just do open A and open E string. That's right. I'm going to quiet this for you. That's right. Relax your wrist. Go limp. That boy. That's perfectly great. All right. Good. So for now, go from here. Not too fast. Whatever tempo you're good with. I'll get it for you. Sorry, I should have grabbed it. I was busy watching you. You're in Swanee, Georgia. Ah, sorry, bad joke. You're right here. Start right on that upper D. Position, yeah, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Another situation where there's no way you can read these. Now, we've been doing acceleration scale routines, yeah? So, I don't know, we've got to get back to that tonight because I want to check up and make sure where you're at in that. But that's just a pattern. I don't have to know those fingerings, and it's always one shift F3, two shifts after the third finger. The only thing is that you've got to know whether it's a minor scale or a major scale. So tell me, Alex, is this a minor scale or a major scale?
Minor.
Yes, good guess. And you're right. It's an unhappy sound. Major always sounds cheerful, happier. Minor, it's a little unhappy. But when you played that scale, you played something in between. It was half major and half minor. because the bottom part I think was right, the top part wasn't quite right. So let's do for this what we did for the other passage. We're going to play. So for what I can best tell, that second finger on the A string is the one giving you a problem. Why would it? Well, I'll tell you why. High 2, high 2, low 2. When you get to the A string, the second finger has to go down low. It's been going down high for two strings already. So we're going to loop that. We're going to do this. We're basically going to speed it up. I won't speed it up that much on you, but we are going to do some acceleration training right now, okay? Make sure that your second finger goes down low on the A string. Here we go. It should be a third finger. Yeah, so that should be go back to the first finger. That should be a first finger on the B. Go back to the beginning of the scale. You just got confused. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. Go back to the beginning of the scale again. That's where you're making the shift mistake. You have to go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Do you need to mark it? Do you need to mark it differently, or is it clear? Is it clear in terms of the way it's marked? Okay. So let's continue to loop train it. Here we go from the bottom. With me. That's the mistake right there. So you're ending up with a 1 here when you go across. 1, 2, 3. Maybe that will help. Let's try it again with that additional number. Sometimes it just really helps to have it marked better. Again. Okay, so by now you should not have to read those notes at all. Okay, but you got to hear them, you got to have the fingering, so play by heart. 1. Already better, because believe it or not, the violin is an instrument you play better blind. You know, I know our eyes work great for us in most situations in life, but when it comes to playing this instrument, you're better off getting your eyes uninvolved. Let's do that a couple times now. Get it going faster. You're doing great. 1. Good. And again, watch your first finger on your right hand. It's a habit for you. Somebody set you up for a big problem. I know a lot of the teachers around here, and a lot of them think that they're doing kids a favor by training them with a finger like that. It's very, very bad for you. You want to get rid of that as quickly as you can. You'll never be able to do what I do like this with that finger out. No way. So just watch it and make sure that you really retrain that. Here we go. after 3. Again. Attaboy. And see where the first finger crept right away? So, again, you got 2-year-old problems, okay? I understand. I've been doing this for 60 years. I have 2-year-old problems too. My muscles never got any smarter. They always do what I train them the most to do, right? So, there's a principle. Have you ever heard the principle, watch out who your friends are because you'll become like them? In most cultures, there's a saying about that's like this, but what it really means is this, is that you must choose your friends, the people you spend your life with, carefully, because you will become like your friends. So if you associate with very good people, you'll be a better person than if you choose friends who are wicked people. Does that make sense to you? Right, okay. So, it turns out that your muscles are like this. So if you train this, and not that this is wicked, it's just that it's going to hurt you, right? It's not healthy for you. But you train that in. Every time you put the bow in your hand, your first finger is brilliant. It's not that he's stupid. It's that he's really, really smart. But he's a 2-year-old. He remembers what you taught him, what you trained over and over again. So you're going to have to give him some patience, but you've got to get that first finger back. I have the same issues. We all do. We basically have to keep track of our posture, make sure that bad habits are not creeping in. Let's do this one more time. Yeah, you shifted after 2 instead of after 3. So all you got right now, hon, is 2 2-year-olds. This one and that shift at the top, right? And once you know where the 2-year-olds are, then you're fine. The problem is if you got a room full of 2-year-olds, like 100 2-year-olds, they'll drive you crazy. Can you imagine, have you ever done any babysitting in your life? You ever have to watch little kids? I mean, I remember once I had to watch. I was in part of a church when I was your age. My parents were in a church, and because I was tall and because I was fairly mature, when I was like 13 or 14, they would leave me in charge of the 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, while they had a meeting, right? And I mean, 20, 30 2-year-olds, that's crazy. It would drive you nuts. 2 you can take care of. Angel's not a problem. But the bottom line is that you have to figure out, okay, where are the 2-year-olds in this situation? What's messing with me? Well, that is, and that shift, and then you're going to be fine, okay? Let's do it one last time and keep going. Here we go. Good. Keep going for now, by yourself. So here, it's just descent, right? So let's start right where the descent happens, right in that measure there. So it's 0, 4. Now 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. That gets repeated 3 times. Then the sequence continues. Let's go back to the top. 4. That's it. Now 1, 2, 3. Now 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We repeat this 3 times. That gets repeated 3 times. That's right, right there. That gets repeated 3 times. Then, that's right. Good. So I'm just going to do this once for the camera. For you. 1, 2, 3. else's, right? I think you have it in your ear, yeah? Yeah. All right. So let's go on to the next section. Not too fast. So you fell into the trap on that line jump right there. Remember I told you that remember we talked about enharmonics? The G sharp and the A flat are the same note. Remember? So let's play slowly from here together. So it's 1, 3, 4, 3. Now 1, 2, 4. Now move 1 backward, leave 2 there. 3. So 1, 3, 2, 3. There should be, yeah, the numbers are all here, right? So not too fast. 3, 2, 1. Now move 2 back. 4, 2. Okay, so as I said to you last week, all this stuff, it's not in my head, it's in my fingers. And you're at a point in your training now where I want to figure out, and you need to figure out, how good are you? How fast are your fingers? How fast can you teach them to basically remember these patterns? That's what this piece is about. We talked about it, yeah? So right here, this is not a readable passage. It's misleading. First of all, they put it on the end of a measure and you have to jump the line. It's really hard to see. Second of all, they have all these enharmonics and fingering patterns. Now the good news is that 1, 3, 4, 3 and 1, 2, 4, 2 is a very easy memory system for your fingers. But your oddballs are going like, like that, right? If I gave you Russian right now to read a page of Russian, could you make any, do you read Russian? No. So, that's like a foreign language right there, all those enharmonics. It's just really tough for you to read. Let's get it into your fingers. We're going to loop train it. So we're right there in that last measure, 1, 3, 4, 3. Now watch your first finger, make sure there you go. 4, 3. 1, 2, 4. Now move 1 back only, 3. That's it. Now move 2 back to 4. Open 1, 3. Move 1 back to 4. So, there's 2 or 3 places in this piece that if you can't play them rapidly, you'll never play the piece. One of them was this, that thing we just did. It's that scale. If you can't do that fast, you can't play the piece. There's one at the end of the piece as well. There's another one in the middle. And then there's this little, and basically, so this is your test of whether you can convert the visual reading of music into the athletic playing of music using finger memory. Let's do this again. 1, 3, 4, 3. Good. So, as long as we're doing this, I want to reiterate, I want to make sure you understand the 3 principles of how to become a virtuoso. First of all, the most important is the principle of slow and easy, right? If you don't start slow and easy, you will never be able to play extremely fast and easy. It just doesn't happen. The easy has to be trained in. So that's the first principle. Start slow and easy. The next principle is basically that you accelerate small portion, right? So you take those two measures. So first principle was slow and easy. The second principle is small, okay? That's another S word. So you have slow and easy, and then you basically, you speed this up, okay? Gradually, this slow, small speed. So slow, and then you loop this so that you basically get it going faster and faster without ever making yourself work at it. So we're going to do that right now, but I want to make sure you understand this principle. Slow and small and speed it up. Slow and small and speed it up. When I say slow, I mean slow and easy, right? Is that clear to you? Okay, so here we go. So it's my job right now, it's going to be your job when I'm not here. You have to find a tempo where you can play that easily without faltering. And I think we've got it. But what's interesting is that just now, you wanted to rush ahead. I took a slower tempo than the one you took. You know why? Because I'm better at knowing how to get things really fast. What you don't get quite yet, Alex, is how easy this is. It is easy to play the violin virtuosically, but you have to do the training for easy. So that's why I'm starting you. I know it's almost boring, it's so easy. That's part of the virtuosic process. Here we go. Now we're going to, that's going to be enough. I'm sorry, we gotta keep going. Now we go right back to the beginning of that passage again. So that's a small bite, and we're going to accelerate it now. Back to the beginning. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the beginning again. By the way, how much are you training a day now? Okay, so when you do loop training like this, you should do this for 5 minutes. That's like 4 measures for 5 minutes. That's half of a training session. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Train this way in these little small bites, okay? I don't care how many notes you know in this piece. You will never play this piece the way it's written. You'll never play it that way unless you train the way we are right now. Little groups. But have you ever heard of a saying that says that a rising tide raises all boats? Do you know how the lock system works at the Panama Canal?
No.
You never saw it? It's an amazing thing, Alex. These ships, these huge seagoing ships, they're huge. They pull into something called a lock, and they close the door behind them. They're on water, and they pump the water in from the previous lock, and basically it raises the water level, and then they go into the next lock. They open the doors. So basically, by raising the water, you raise the ship that weighs thousands and thousands and thousands of tons of weight, okay? So, the great thing about the kind of training I'm having you do right now is that when you make these two measures better, it will improve your playing everywhere. It makes you better. But this is how you get better. You take a small bite and you make it easy and you repeat it. And you make a game out of this for yourself, Alex. You make a game. How fast can I play this without it getting hard? I mean, if you try, you'll ruin it. But how fast bottom line is that it's a question of training the easy, training the ease. Does that make sense? Good. Let's do it some more. You're on the right track. Back to the beginning. Again, next one. Right, okay, so in 5 minutes time, you should be able to get it to about there. In another 5 minutes, time after that, the next day, you gradually speed this up, very gradually, okay? So, let's see, where did I have you go to? You're on the next page. Where did I have you stop? Did I even print out the next page, or was that it?
You printed out, but you didn't.
I didn't give it to you, okay. See, that's letter I. J. There we go. So, this from letter I on to let's go to letter M. Actually, I'm going to do this for you to letter N. Okay? So the tape is running. I'm going to play this first of all so that you have a recording of how this goes. Okay? So I'm starting at letter I. This is like before. One more measure of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we have the descent. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 1. Letter M is third position. And then it starts all over again at letter O. Okay, that's the repeat. Now I'm going to do this again slowly between N and O. I decided to take you as far as O to join this because this is actually my favorite place in the piece. Right here. It's so dissonant, it's so ugly. But it's a big traffic jam. Only it's a traffic jam. I want you to imagine two armies charging each other to fight on horseback. Cavalry, okay? Boom. They all come together for the battle. That's what's happening right there. Okay? So, it sounds crazy. Let me show you these notes because otherwise they're going to bother you. We're in third position. Let's play from here. Second finger. So that's a second finger. Should be a... I can't tell what that is, but it looks like a mistake. Should be a 2. That should be a 2. There it is, a 2. I'll make it bigger. So go right to a... Now 1 behind it. Now we're gonna... This would be an octave. Played 1. We're gonna go a half step further than that to the E flat with the 4th finger. That's right. That is basically a strong dissonance. That's right. Now raise your 4th finger half step. So I hear this. That's it. That's what we have right there. Then watch this. Here I go to a harmonic. So it starts out as an E flat. So let's do this again from here. 1. Now next line to an E natural. E natural. 2. That should be a 2, yes. First position. Good. Remember that scale we worked on? This time it's the same scale, except this time it's major. It's just an A major scale there, okay? It's actually easier this time. All right, so I think we've gone long enough. You seem suitably worn out. Remember, you're going to be a virtuoso on a violin. You have to practice athletically. You have to practice for slow, easy little bites that you can speed up. I played this scale probably 2,000 or 3,000 times before I could do like that. So you have to have the patience to do this easily, but you'll never be a virtuosic performer. Now, what we don't know is your athletic ability. You may have more athletic ability than me. I've got a lot of athletic ability on the violin, always have. I was very, what they call a natural on the violin. But maybe you do too. What we'll find out once you start doing this kind of training, Alex, is what kind of natural ability you have. Because the best players, the kids that play the best all over the world, are the kids that basically do this kind of training naturally. They know they're good at it, and they basically get good at it. I mean, it's like any other sport. Kids that are naturally good at soccer, they want to go out and become better at soccer because they got a gift for it. When they train, they rise to the top. They quickly separate themselves from the other boys or girls, whoever's on the team. This is the same here. Your athletic ability will surface by how quickly you're able to get your fingers to do things without your eyes and your brain having to tell them everything they need to do. But those little bites are the secret. All right? All right, my boy, you have a good night. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.